All right, y'all. So this is a press conference that KJP has had since Joe Biden announcing that he is not partying, or he is now going to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. This was I saw clips of it. I haven't seen the whole thing. I'm going to watch the whole thing with you all. It looks very uncomfortable for Karine. I'm not going to lie, mainly because when you continuously and consistently have been saying the same thing over and over again and making like the media seem crazy for even asking the question over the mere fact of, oh, is he going to pardon Hunter? And you continuously say, oh, he is not going to, he's not planning to, just to face the same people and having to answer those same questions. Before we begin today's video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Follow me on my social media as we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We're going to go ahead and get straight into today's video. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre holds White House press briefing. Before I even get into like this, just real quick, and I said this in my previous video, it actually ticks me off so much so the fact that Biden said in the beginning that he wasn't going to pardon him, because no one forced him to say that, just to put people around him in a compromising position like Karine, even though Karine knows this is her job. Essentially, you have to defend the president and his decisions and what he makes. It is also one of those things where it's just like, how can the American people trust you? Like, generally speaking, how can we trust you? They were so adamant on the fact of, oh, he's not pardoning him, pardoning him, just for him to end up pardoning him. To each their own. Let's go ahead and get started.
In your first briefing here, as press secretary, you committed to speaking to the American people in, and I quote, in a transparent way, in a truthful way, and an honest way.
Yes.
And then in July, here at this podium, you were asked about the president pardoning his son, and he said, it's a no, it will be a no, it's a no.
Yes, and that is
so
exactly right.
Of the president's son and that pardon, it became a yes. I'm wondering if you would like to explain to us, the American people, really why the information that you provided turned out not to be true.
And I answered this question on Monday. We spent about 30 minutes on this, almost 30 minutes, roughly 30 minutes on this particular issue. And I'm just going to reiterate what I said on Air Force One to your colleagues when I did the gaggle. And look, if you look at his statement, it's pretty comprehensive. The statement that he put out on Sunday when he made this decision to pardon his son, Hunter Biden. It's in his own voice. I think it takes you through his thinking. And he did. He wrestled with this. And again, he said in his...
I don't think he wrestled with it, though. Like, that's the thing. That's where the disconnect is, because they're trying to make it and portray it to where he changed his mind. Like, oh, he changed his mind. I think he genuinely knew in his heart and soul, like, if the opportunity presented itself, he was going to pardon him. Like, if the opportunity presented itself. Did the outcome of the election play a role? For sure. Probably so. But it's like, why lie? I just don't get it. Why lie?
Statement in his own voice that he made that decision this past weekend. And the fact is, when you think about how the president got to this decision, circumstances have changed. They have. And a couple of things, and I said this on Monday as well. Republicans said they weren't going to let up, weren't going to stop. Recently announced Trump appointees for law enforcement have said on the campaign that they were out for retribution, and I think we should believe their words, right? We should believe what they say. The sentencing was coming up, as you all know. There was a sentencing coming up, and the president said this in his statement, that Hunter and his family had been through enough. Enough is enough. And he wrestled with these circumstances, these changing circumstances ultimately, and the combination.
But it sounds as if they're trying to blame Trump's administration for saying retribution is coming. Because at the end of the day, if you're innocent, you're innocent. Kind of like the case that Trump had in New York. It's one of those things where, like, if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. And I understand Hunter Biden is probably going through a lot. Some of the things that he put himself into, some of it is part of, like, media and the public just being extra hard on him for being Joe Biden's son. But in this particular case, it's one of those things where if Joe Biden lied, he lied. Like, I don't think we should beat around the bush. He said what he said. I think you should just come out and apologize and just say to the American people that we lied. We lied. We said that we weren't going to pardon him, and Joe Biden wants to pardon him. He's within his legal right to do so. And call it what it is. Like, I don't get it.
Of that. The president changing his mind and issuing, certainly led to the president changing his mind and issuing this pardon. And one thing that I do want to point to, which I think is important, is what Congressman James Clyburn said when he was interviewed. He said, "I am absolutely okay with it. I don't know how many people urge him to do so, but I did." He seemed to be reticent about it. This is what Clyburn said when he spoke to the president 2 weeks ago. But I emphasized, continuing his quote, emphasized the fact that we as fathers have obligations to our children. So that was a conversation that the congressman himself had with the president.
I agree. You do have obligations to your children, but also this is kind of like a different situation where not only your obligation is to the children, but the American people. That goes back to my main point. You could have at least not made a promise that you weren't going to pardon him. I just think that is where people are the biggest, like, that is where people are actually honing in on. It's just the fact that he said he wasn't. Me personally, if you ask me if I'm pardoning my kid, I'm going to do everything in my power to protect my children. Like, if you ask me, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be like, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Two weeks ago said that the president was reticent when he encouraged the president to do so. And this weekend, he thought about it and he weighed. It was not an easy decision to come to, and he put out a comprehensive statement. And I would certainly, offer that up to folks out there who are wondering. I would say, please read the president's response to this in full.
I'm sure my colleagues have a few follow-ups, just very specifically.
It's not only colleagues who watch this. There's also the American people.
Exactly.
So to be fair,
and they were told by you in July that this would not happen, and it did. Do you, I'm saying, asking for yourself, not the president's statement, but for yourself. Do you feel like you are owed an apology by the president? Do you owe an apology to the American people?
Zeke, I just laid out the president's thinking. The president laid it out himself in his own words.
He's not asking about the president. He's asking about you
specifically. He laid out
specifically.
how he wrestled with this decision. He said in his statement, as a president, as a father, he talked about how difficult it was to make this decision. He thought about it this weekend. He did. He thought about it this weekend. He wrestled with it.
But in a span of a couple of days? That's hard for me to believe.
Some real factors that he took into consideration. And that's why I keep saying folks should just take a look. Take a look. Read his statement. And I know what I said. I know what the president said. That is where we were at the time. That is where the president was at the time. I am his spokesperson. This weekend, he thought about it. He wrestled with it. And made this decision. That's what I can tell the American people.
Why should they have any confidence in anything else?
I think the American people understand, and I think they understand how difficult this decision would be. And I would actually add, and I think it's important to note here as you're asking me these questions, important questions to ask, that there was a poll, a U.S. Gov poll that came out, that some of you all reported on it, and it said 64% of the American people agree with the pardon. 64% of the American people.
You stop. Why is it just now you want to listen to the American people? Y'all weren't listening when 2/3 of left-leaning voters said they wanted somebody else other than Biden. It wasn't until they started pulling that money, the donor money, that's when y'all started listening and be like, hey, Biden got to go. So it's just like, don't try to pull that card whenever it benefits you. Stop. Y'all not really caring about what the American people got to say like that.
Where the American people are on this. Obviously, it's one poll, but it gives you a little bit of insight. 64% is nothing to sneeze at. But again, the president talked about this, his own words. He said this weekend, he wrestled with this. This weekend, he thought about this. And he made this decision. And let's not forget, we can't
Excuse me, y'all, I'm sorry.
Forget what some of the legal experts and former prosecutors have.
We're going to stop it there. I think it's very repetitive, especially like how she's explaining herself. But then again, I don't blame her because it's like, Actually, no, I do kind of blame her and kind of don't blame her. She's just doing her job at the end of the day. It's really just President Biden. I think that they need to do a better job with talking to the American people. I think KJP needs to work on, well, obviously, new administration, so she won't be there again, but I wish she would have worked on how she talks to the press and the American people, because sometimes it comes off like she doesn't know what she's talking about, like very repetitive. She's talking in circles and so forth. But yeah, I think it's a very uncomfortable situation to be in. I can't even imagine being in that situation, mainly because it's like when you go so long saying one thing and then out of a span of 2 days, you change your mind. Now you come back to the American people, say, oh, he had a change of heart. He wrestled with it. He wrestled with it for 48 hours. Really? After Thanksgiving break? Really? Really? Like, mind you, I do want to make it clear, I'm not necessarily, my biggest concern isn't the fact that he pardoned Hunter, only because it's legal, and also because it's like one of those things where if you're in that situation, you're probably going to do it 9 times out of 10, as long as he didn't like kill somebody or something of those lines. But the main issue is just like the lies. It's so annoying, and it's crazy because the Democratic Party is always like, when they go low, we go high. Really? Stop. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Follow me on my social media because we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I love y'all all. God bless y'all. This is Uduak, connecting people with policy. Toodles!